Welcome to the Let's Talk with Paula show, where we talk about interesting topics. And this was my very first show, and we have a little bit of everybody on here: boxers, singers, dancers, people that cook. We couldn't bring the food in the studio, but they baked it, and we had a feast on the outside. Okay, but you know, book writers, singers, we still have those people that come on, but we got kind of focused on other things after COVID. You know, so. But these two guests that I have here tonight, they've been with me. Dave has been with me forever, and Terrence has been with me for at least the last 5 years, I guess.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah, something, yeah. So, but y'all know them because you see them, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and we're gonna start with Terrence and move around. So, to Dave.
My name is Terrence Pitts. I am the founder, co-owner of Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio. I'm also the founder and owner of Pitt Sports Zone, which also airs here on Bowie TV.
Oh, righty then.
I'm David Barnett, insurance agent, but we talk about all types of stuff. I think today is an insurance show, so we should have a good conversation today.
Yeah, and your father, you tell me, I never forget the story, how your father used to make you remember?
What do you mean, to read?
Uh-huh.
To read books?
Mm.
I mean, I always say he tricked us, but he basically paid us. We would come up here in the summertime. It would be a whole bunch of books, probably like 8, 9. We can read. We have somewhat fair comprehension skills. Mm-hmm. You show up at the house, and it would probably be about 100 books there of all different sizes, some adult books, some children's books, and he would have stickers on there with prices on them. So for like a small kid's book that might be 20, 30 pages, you get $5, $10. But you could go as high up to as a book like Roots. Roots might be 500, 600 pages. You get $100, $150 off that. Mm-hmm. So you had a whole summer. You read as many books as you want. After you finish the book, you either do a book report or you take a multiple choice test. He had read all the books, and if you pass, you get it. So we would clean up. That one summer, came back, next summer, cleaned up again. And then we came back the third summer, the books were there, but the price tag wasn't on there. But we were used to reading grown people books, so we kept reading the books. So as I always say, he tricked us into reading.
Okay, excuse me, so that was your reading. And the math one is really something. The way that he used to take you to the track.
Well, the track thing was just, I don't really know what that one. That didn't have anything to do with math. I had to take a math test from him so he could see how well I did. Man, I was younger then. I was probably like 7.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I remember I was so young when I sat in the seat at the track. My feet would dangle. They wouldn't touch the floor.
Right.
But he bought this big racing form. It's not the racing form that you get when you go to the track. That's like a little brochure. This joint is gonna have all of the races that are going to be on the East Coast at the different tracks. And we would go to different tracks on Saturdays. So we might be in Maryland one weekend, we might be in Pennsylvania another weekend, we might be West Virginia. So we weren't going too far away, but we would be gone the whole day. And Thursdays, the racing form would come out, and he made me read something so he could see how well I could read. And then he gave me a math test that he made up to see how well I added, subtracted, multiplied. And then if you ever see one of those racing forms, it's a whole bunch of abbreviations. So it's gonna tell you about each horse, his last 8 races, how he did at certain points. You had to learn stuff, and I'm like 7 or 8, but he taught me all of that stuff, and he taught me how you pick a winner. And then he would give me $2 per race. It's 9 races. If I win, he showed me how to read the board, how to know how much money coming back to me. And every race I get $2. If I win, he give me my money. And then you're gonna give me $2 for the next race. If I wanna put my own money on something, he'll let me. And he taught me how to clean up. And that went on from like 7 till I was like 15 or 16 when I started driving. I stopped coming up here. But that was just him. I guess that was something we did. That was just our thing. And it really worked because I stopped going to the track with him at like 14. After I got grown, I've never been to the track without him. So it's like a father-son type thing.
But also it was like a critical theory thinking, right? It was like, you know, it was a deeper thought process than what we at that age. Like, there's no way I'm about to go. I'm you know, processing and, you know, okay, I do this, I can get this. I'm pretty sure.
It took you how to make money.
And $2 was a lot back then.
You know?
Penny candy was
Oh,
out
yeah.
there.
I mean, the proudest I've ever seen him was when I was a little kid at the track. We took one of his homeboys rode with us one
That's the
weekend.
one I wanted to take.
And he wasn't winning nothing. He probably like race 5. I'm hitting every race. I don't bet to win. I always bet to place and show. My thing is I need to collect on every race. It's only 9 of them, so I need to collect something from every race, and that'll add up. I'll probably do a daily double each one, probably once or twice while I'm there. So he hadn't won nothing, and I felt sorry for him. So I already picked my daily double, and I just told him go half with me on it. If we hit, it's half. We hit. Daily double comes out, and it's like $500 or something like that. The guy goes to cash in the ticket, and he comes back, and he give me like $50, and I'm like 7, but I'm like.
You think he don't know either?
I'm like, dude, this $50. Let's say we won. The board say we won 500. Half of 500 is 250. You short 200. And he looked at my father, and my father was smiling like, boy can count. And I remember him being proud of me later on in my life, but he was extremely proud of me.
He tried it.
I know, that's right.
The fact that I could count and then I spoke up for myself meant a lot to him. So
At 7 years old, yeah, but you weren't being disrespectful. You were just getting the due process.
Hey, that could have been a disrespectful moment. First off, you wasn't winning at all. You only won because
you talking about the old? You talking about the old? Oh yeah, that was disrespectful.
No, but I'm saying, but as a 7-year-old, and I've always been taught to respect my elders. But listen, you only won because of this 7-year-old. So technically, you should probably just get the 50 and be happy with it. If you want to, since you want to try to short me, how about I give you this and you give me the other 450?
Okay.
No, you give me the 450 and you take this 50.
Oh, okay.
Since you try to be funny.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't to me at that age. It wasn't a disrespect thing. I thought he might not know how to count thing.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
At 7, you don't really go off disrespect, like that. But
I know that's right.
But I'm thinking like, man, you might not be that good with numbers, man. You like to drink a little bit. He always had this look in his eyes. Man, you might not be good with numbers.
Yeah, gosh.
But this isn't right. The 50, that's not gonna get it.
He gave you a single bill.
He gave me a single 50, bro. It was like flipping through the other joints.
I can see if he gave you two 20s and a 10 to make you feel
like you got
gave me a
money,
50,
right?
And he was flipping
All
through the other 450, counting it. Like in my face. Now, that was disrespectful.
See, Pittsburgh turned 7-year-old, it'd been the opposite way. I'm like, give me the 450 and you take this 50 since you don't know how to count today.
Right.
Because he only won because of you. That's funny.
Yeah.
You can't win. You need a 7-year-old to win. Then when you do win, you want to try and test his. You want to test his wits.
I tell you what he did the next race. The next race is like, who you like in the next race? Really?
Oh, so he tried to get you a free ball on that one.
He was trying to get me to tell him
so
who I was picking in the next race.
He ain't want to go half and half this time.
He just wanted a tip.
That tip was $1,000.
If I go
look at the sheet.
Right.
That's my tip.
If I'm there for 9 races, most of the time I'm going to collect either 8 or 9 times out of 9 because I'm not playing to.
Win.
To me, it's like a math problem.
Yeah.
So the equation ends up with me getting some at the end of every race. And it doesn't have to be a whole bunch of money. Some of those races it's gonna be $10. Some of those races it might be $20. It might be $15 here and then. Like one, it might be $1.50. I'm talking about a 7-year-old. And my pops was real. My pops did not care what I did with the money. And we're going every Saturday. I'm gonna be up here for the whole summer. So to me, the idea is I'm gonna stack the whole time I'm here. The week before we get ready to go, I'm gonna go to the mall and I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of clothes and shoes that I can't buy where I live. So I'll have stuff that's different. I ain't gotta ask him to buy it for me. I got it on my own, and we good that way. And that would be my little routine. I would also hustle. I was a hustler. At that time, Marion Barry used to have like summer programs, and they would pay you to go to school. And they ain't had nothing like that. In Arkansas, you gonna go to school and they gonna pay you? Well, I would go to school. I would get paid. It would be like math classes. It was like a class where we had to build like transistor radios. You had to learn how to read the schematics so you know where to put it, solder it in, all that different types of stuff. But it's a whole bunch of young kids. It's UDC. And I used to catch a train up there, catch a train back by myself. But I got that money from the track, and I would start I go across the street. There was like, it wasn't CVS. It was called something else, like People's or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think it was People's.
I go in there and buy a gang of candy and then go sell it to the cats across the street. I mean, I got in trouble one time, and I held my father down, but I really didn't want to. She ended up marrying my father and ended up being my stepmother. They was living together at the time, but really, really nosy. And like, I would hide all my stuff. I'd hide my candy, I hide my money. So I come home one day and they did like a prison cell thing on me.
They did
and
a cell block check?
Yeah. Candy on the bed, money on the bed. It's like you know how the cops do when they catch some dope and money and they put it on the table for the news.
And then they want you to look at him like, so talk to me.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, you know where it came from. So okay, I'm gonna play.
So you playing this game with her?
I'm playing this game with her. She's like, where all this come from? I've been saving up the lunch money y'all gave me, and I bought some candy, and I just kept doubling and doubling and doubling. The money kept building and building and building, so I saved it. And then I'm looking at him while I'm saying all this, because she still don't know we going to the track every Saturday.
That's what I'm going to say.
She don't know none of this stuff.
He's taking him to the track.
She does not. We leave. So I think what she thought was we were spending father and son time together. So
well, you were.
I mean,
we get up and leave like 8 in the morning. We don't come back until 8, 9 at night. We both happy. We done had a grand time. What y'all gonna do? We went to the movies. We went we went out to dinner. We went to the arcade. We went to, what's that place? It's a amusement park in Virginia. We went there. King's Dominion. We went every weekend. She thinking we are father and son time,
y'all are, that is time to spend.
But not the father and son time, she thinks.
Well, the whole point that I wanted you to tell those two stories, because one, it was a lot of educational things that you were doing at the time, but you were enjoying yourself because you were spending time with your father. And we don't think, I mean, it just depends on, your father is a mathematician or something. What is your father? I forgot what
my father does. Well, he got a PhD in mathematical engineering from Cal Berkeley, but he does computer stuff, networking, programming, all that stuff.
He was kind of leading you in a direction or a path that you could have taken. And the biggest thing was he was teaching you how to make money and not steal, rob, and kill, okay? And no matter what it is that your parents might, have that niche for, like you have a niche with your son, you know what I mean? It's better for you to grab him now and show him, and just like he has one with his son. But if we did that, we wouldn't have all these killings and stuff out here. If we had men in the house, even you got parents that are single mothers that are at the house that do the same types of things as well, that has the time if they're not working 2 and 3 jobs, okay? So I think that we need to go back to the roots and try to figure out what it is that we need to do to keep our children occupied.
Well, if we're gonna go back to the root, then you gotta take off the fear of parents being able to reprimand and discipline their children first and foremost there. And I'm not saying that every child needs to be spanked or whatnot, but at the end of the day, my theory or my saying is this: if you have a child that doesn't respect their own mother and father, then I have no chance in the world for that child to respect me outside the home. And yes, there are a lot of moments when the children's father is not in the house, but then there are moments when the children's father is there. But to a degree, the children nowadays are different. They have this entitlement mindset of they have, you can't, I don't have to. Like, there were certain words that I couldn't say to my parents.
I won't, to me, I can't. I couldn't say them to my parents.
Right, either. I won't, I can't, no, like things like that. Or if I tell you to go take out the trash and you like, I don't feel like it, I'd have been picking up my teeth and my body from off the floor.
Absolutely.
But now it's like you have a lot of children who feels that they can challenge the authority of the adults.
I kind of go back to the children.
No consequences and repercussions.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. But we have to look at the age group of those parents. those age groups of those parents with those children. You know, and then you have to look at what era did they come up in, because you know, long time ago, there were a lot of women that were having crack babies. Okay. And so they didn't have the responsibility because they had a habit of their own.
I mean, they just got it because
so
it was a
their
fixer.
children didn't know how to. They didn't respect her, and you know, so that's the way they came up.
But I think
I think it's about how you are raised, on how your children respond to other things and people. I mean, it still goes back to the parents.
But I think we're talking about two different. Like, so when we talk about crack babies, right? We're like the crack babies. And for me,
I'm really talking about their mothers.
Well, what I mean is that the difference between then and now is the crack babies came into the world with nothing, appreciate everything. These kids are coming into the world with everything, appreciate nothing. There's a difference, right? So, like, they have it all, and that's in PG County and alone. These kids got it all. Like, when I moved here from Pittsburgh, I felt disrespected, right? Because I came from low poverty neighborhood. I came from the projects, right? So I came from gang infested areas. So when I moved here, I felt some type of way that I'm watching kids whose parents live in $400,000 homes walk around the schools like they gangs. And when I first get here, they ask me what set I'm claiming. And I turn and I look at them like, didn't you just drive that Escalade to school today? And you in the 9th grade? Bro, get out my face. Like, they're portraying an image that they don't have to portray.
Right.
It's a cool look for some reason. I don't understand why. But it's a difference because, like I said, you have both parents. Like, in this area have a lot of both parents in the household.
That's absolutely. And
So-
we're talking about a different time period, you know.
And parents want to be friends nowadays, too. That's the other thing.
Yeah, well, you know, you have to be the parent first, you know.
The problem probably lies, and it's gonna go before that crack era. You're gonna probably have to go back to like the 60s or the 70s.
Yeah.
The government incentivized the black woman to put the black man out the house. We'll give you a check. He can't stay here.
Right.
When the man leaves, statistically speaking, the man is key in rearing of children. If you go, basically, a large portion of the prison population, single parent household, the mother in the household. If it's a single parent household and it's the father, likelihood of them graduating high school is high, the likelihood of them going to college is high, the likelihood of them not getting involved in any kind of problems is high, if the mother is there or not. So if you have a 2-parent household and the mother is doing her part, which is going to be, you know,
The nurturer.
The women do that, and there's a difference. It's going to be a difference in a 2-parent household, and I know from my son because, I mean, he always listens to my wife, but I mean, he got about 9, 10, 11. She asked him to do something, and he almost as tall as her now, so he ain't quite listening. I asked him to do the same thing, and he go right and do it. There's a difference.
To that point right there, because, you know, and my son is, you know, he's definitely the respectful type. He doesn't, you know, he's not a disrespectful kid, but like knowing the person, like same thing, you know. Mama asked him to clean his room, clean your room. Then I get the call, he still ain't clean his room. So your room ain't clean, I'm getting up, I'm doing it right now. So why you just didn't do that when mom asked you the first 2 times?
Because it's going to be some repercussions behind
Right,
it.
that's right.
Your mama is just going to keep nagging you. I'm going to ask you once,
Right.
and when you don't do it, now you didn't disrespect me.
And I had to
And
do
I got
that
to
too.
show you what happened
And
when
my
you
son know
disrespect
that. I ask him. I even instituted that with my nephews. I tell them, how many times your uncle have to ask you to do anything? Like once. I told him to say it to my sister and my brothers. I babysat that a couple weeks ago. My nephew, I told him to do something. Second time I come back like, did I not? And he like, oh, I'm sorry, uncle. Got to his mom, asked him to do something. She's like, hold up, he did it on the first go? Like, yeah.
And they surprised, you know.
You ain't even
and
got to
that's
yell
really
at them.
sad.
Just ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just put that up because I know it's a lot of killings that's going on here, and I know it's a lot of young people, and y'all are 2 men, you know, with perspective on how to raise, and y'all from 2 different eras too, that you know, you could put some light on.
I
what's
just think
going on
that's
now.
a heavier topic than just mother and father. I think circumstances of environment times we live in, racial divide. I mean, all of that plays a part in it. You know, but you know, sadly, I've told my sons and my nephews, like, you know, I'm afraid of 3 people. Now I keep it honestly. You know, I'm afraid of, you know, racism. I'm afraid of police that goes black or white, and I'm afraid of people that look like me. Right? So you can't trust everybody that you look at.
That's true.
And that's just the reality of it.
That's true. And then to be in a different era, you know, and so, you know, I just think that we need to, it's some group that's starting to, I think it's in the District of Columbia, I saw it on the news the other day. Well, I think that funding is getting ready to get cut because they're talking about cutting federal funding and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether it's going to happen or not. They're trying to put a hold on that. But it's a school that pays the children to come, like Marion Berrien's program, and they're learning different types of things, like, you know, internet, machinery, and different kinds of things. And this is outside of their regular school.
Actual skills that they can use in the job market is what you mean.
Oh, and then another thing too is another one that was on there the other day was that they have a program for young people that are in school, but they have a program for them to come to, and they teach them interviewing skills. They teach them how to interview, and it's stores that are in the District of Columbia that will hire these students, right? So they teach them how to interview, they teach them how to write resumes, you know, and I mean, they just teach them how to work and be in a work environment, and not only just be a worker, but how to become a manager.
They give them interpersonal skills.
Yes, and that program is very successful. They say this is the second year that they have it, and it was very successful, you know, last year when they had it. So I'm glad to see that we have people in organizations that are really taking a hold of these children or young adults, put it that way, so that they can help. Because if you don't have any discipline at home, you understand what I'm saying? At least, do you have another group of people that have male and females that are teaching you, you know, how to be respectful, you know, how to interview, how to write a, you know, resume, and, you know, how you're supposed to treat people that work and they do mock, you know, interviews and things like that?
I feel like that's a lesson that need to be taught to the higher ups in our government at this point. I mean, we're asking them to do something that the people that lead us can't even do. Yeah,
because I'm going to tell you, I go back to what you said earlier, is that you have a lot of young people out here that are working are very disrespectful to their supervisors on their jobs, and they blatantly won't do or have something to say.
I went to a restaurant in Bowie, won't say the name, and the interaction between my waiter and his supervisor, I felt a threat for the supervisor's life. Because one, this isn't a private conversation. This is a conversation between the employee and the supervisor loudly, and everybody's looking. At that point, I'm conscious about today's environment, right? You know, if he's that okay with disrespecting his supervisor that loud in public, who's to say how much further he won't go? Because he's obviously passionate about what he's saying. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, how much for this water? I'm gonna go ahead and cancel my order. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself out of here. I mean, it's sad. That's
and it is very sad.
And the supervisor and to this day, I swear, the employer is still there.
Yeah. And that happens a lot of times. I mean, I was in a store and I was talking to the lady because she came to open up one of the cabinets. I said, this is a shame that you have to open up a cabinet, you know, when you go in these stores now, because they just stealing everywhere. And, you know, and I see the difference in between this store and another store, I'm not going to say their names, is that at least when the people walk out the door, they checking your receipt. Now it depends on, somebody told me, now it depends on whether or not you got an old person at the door or whether you got a young person at the door.
The older person going to check, the younger person
older person going to check, but the young person just going to look at the receipt and just let you go past, right? And but they don't have as much theft problems as some of the other stores that have somebody standing up front, but they don't do anything.
Because this is the version of, like, to think that okay, they got somebody at the front, there's a possibility that I can get caught, whether they check it or not. So it's kind of like an empty diversion, right?
I don't think the person at the
or
front
empty
is
threat.
I don't think the person at the front is a deterrent at all. It depends on the thief. If you're dealing with an amateur, they're going to give it away. They're going to be looking around the corner and everything, always turning around. A thief, I watched a dude walk into Walmart, walk to the back like he an employee, come out pushing the thing with 2 TVs and boxes, and push that joint on out the door. Like everything's normal.
Well, maybe he
and
paid
never,
for it.
he didn't pay for anything. I watched this man. You do not have on a blue vest, sir. You have on a white T-shirt. There's no name tag that says Walmart. My name is. You just walked back there.
Okay, and nobody else
Nobody. Look, number one, most employees aren't paid well. They're not treated well. They're not appreciated. Do you really think they care about your stuff? All they care about is the check you give them every 2 weeks.
That little check they get.
And as long as you don't get out of line with me, disrespect me, I don't care what happens to your stuff. And I mean.
But that's the mentality of some of these young people that are working in these stores. That's the way they feel. I mean, and so they don't have any respect for their supervisors, and they sure enough don't have any respect for the merchandise that's in the store. Okay, so. You know, what do you do?
You break them
that's
down.
my question of the day, is what do you do? How do you help? So with that, I want to thank you guys for engaging with me in that conversation, and we want to get ready to say goodnight. I want you to say, Dave, what you do real quick.
What?
You are an insurance.
Insurance agent.
Okay.
And
your business real quick, and your email address.
Can't say my government business, but my email address is
You have to say your name, whatever you want to give.
TEPIS25@gmail.
Okay, and so I thank you guys for engaging in that conversation, because I took y'all off guard. I mean, God just took me a whole different direction, okay?
Yeah, took y'all off guard.
I'm glad he did, because I wasn't even on that, but someone said, oh, I got too many here. You know, let's talk about this.
But I think that's a deeper dialogue conversation that is much needed.
And I thank you guys for engaging in it, because we did not practice, okay? God just said do this. So with that, we want to say good night. We're going to wave here from the Let's Talk with Paula show, and we tell everybody good night, and God bless and be safe.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.